Hi everyone, it's your favorite Atomic Blonde here with a Pop Chat special. This morning I have been to go see the 28 years later, the Bone Temple. So obviously the sequel to 28 years later, I think they pretty much filmed back to back. So it's only been like 6 or 7 months since we had the first installment, which is great. And they're basically waiting to see how this one performs, if to greenlight the completion of the trilogy. As promised, Cillian Murphy is in it right at the end. Spoiler, not for very long, but this is why I'm kind of hoping that this movie does do well, because the third installment is basically, picking up with Cillian Murphy's character and sort of what happened to him and the other survivors. So based on this film, I'd be really interested to see that. So this film, I guess, first and foremost, again, I know the 28 years later was a bit Marmite for people. It wasn't quite the film that people were expecting it to be. I personally enjoyed the first one. You can go back and check my review on that. And we kind of pick up where the last film ended, with Spike being sort of saved by the Jimmies. Overall, I enjoyed this film. It's quite a different film to the first film. This is probably more the DNA of the sort of 28 days, 28 weeks later. That there is the more of the sort of rage zombies, and we learn a bit more about the sort of the alpha. So you kind of got two sort of parallel stories running. You've got the Jimmies, and Spike being with the Jimmies, and kind of how sort of twisted that world is. Absolutely fantastic acting. Just bringing up the lead actor's name, who was also fantastic in Sinners, which I really enjoyed. Again, you can go watch the review on that one on the channel. I should know his name. It's terrible, isn't it? Bear with me a second, peeps. Jack O'Connell plays Sir Jimmy Crystal, and the majority of this is that group, and we really sort of see how twisted and dark Jimmy really is. So in the first film, we see him as a kid, and his father was the vicar, and he allows himself to be basically eaten, bitten, whatever, by the zombies. Not zombies, because obviously they're alive, but these people infected with the rage virus. He allows that to happen in some sort of twisted way. He thinks it's some God's work, it's sort of the apocalypse or something like that. And Jimmy sees this, and he's like 8 years old at the time. His mother and sister are obviously murdered by the rage zombies, and obviously this deeply affects Jimmy, and how he just grows up really in this sort of twisted world of sort of kill or be killed. Now, obviously, that kind of character, because they wear the tracksuits and all the jewelry, is kind of back when 28 Days Later was made. We didn't know what we know now about Jimmy Savile, and he was like one of probably Jimmy's heroes. Nobody knew what a monster he was, and I do think that's kind of deliberate in the way that obviously he sort of mirrors himself on this sort of Jimmy Savile, who we know is a monster, because this character is a complete monster. We also find out that he's actually a Satanist as well. And he kind of believes that rather than God bringing about the apocalypse, it's obviously been Satan. And somehow in his mind, it's got a bit twisted that he sort of believes he's like the Antichrist, or he's the son of the devil. So all the things he's doing for that. So poor Spike sort of ends up with this gang. There are sort of going to be some spoilers in here, or light spoilers, just sort of to give you the story. And there's like to sort of join the Jimmies, you have to do like a fight to the death and take one of the crew's place, basically, which ends up happening. And Spike's just kind of caught up in all of this. You know, he doesn't actually want to be part of the Jimmies. He can see like how dangerous they are, and you know, basically what we saw in the first film, he's a good kid. You know, he was brought up to be part of the island that he's from, and you basically kill because you have to. Like if it's one of the infected, you kill to protect yourself. And they go hunting. You know, he's not a psychopath by any stretch of the imagination, but obviously the more he's exposed to, the more that this kid sort of still manages to kind of keep his morals, and he's like, you know, what this gang are doing is not okay. And there's some real gore. If you're like, you don't like body horror kind of gore, this is not going to be the film for you. So we kind of got this one story running with the Jimmies, and then we've got Doctor from the first film, Kelson, which brilliant. Ralph Fiennes, who is just awesome in this film. He's just like, yeah, he just looked like he was like having the time of his life. And there's this like a new alpha who he calls Samson, and he shoots Samson with one of his darts, and we basically find out it's kind of got morphine in it. And this alpha kind of gets this sort of when he's high basically on this morphine, he kind of gets it quells the virus to a degree. He kind of has this calm, and you know, and he basically gets addicted to the morphine, so he keeps coming back to the doctor, and the doctor kind of forges this kind of friendship with him, and the doctor's kind of speculating around whether this virus can be treated, and he starts sort of working with Samson to try and figure all this out. And then in the meantime, you've kind of got the Jimmies like rampaging and just killing anybody they're coming across. And they finally come across Dr. Kelson. And because you kind of got this sort of Satanist storyline running, they basically the kids find Kelson, the Jimmies, because he's always covered in like iodine to protect himself from the virus. They sort of say he's like got this orange red skin, and he was like dancing with Samson. I know it sounds weird. And they think, oh, he's basically old Nick and Satan. And Jimmy Crystal has to go down and talk to him, and he says like, are you the devil? And obviously Kelson's a very honest guy, and he's like, no. But they forged this literally a pact with the devil, that he'll pretend to be the devil, he'll pretend to be Jimmy's father to keep the gang in line, because there's a bit of sort of dissent coming, and one of the guys sort of thinks like, actually he's just full of shit, so he needs to sort of quell this rebellion. So I think the first half of the film is a little bit slow for me. Enjoyable, but to be fair, you know, but the first hour is a little bit, you know, so building up this sort of world, this picture of just how insane Sir Jimmy Crystal is. But the acting say is absolutely phenomenal. Him and Ralph Fiennes are fantastic in this. There's none of the people from the island, and Spike's dad's not in this, so Aaron Taylor-Johnson's not in this at all, which is fine. But it's good because we learn a bit more about the alphas, a bit more about the rage virus. We do see people killed and people having their heads ripped off and their spine like sort of ripped out, a la like Predator kind of thing. But I thought the story was very good. It moves everything forward. Like I say, we learn a bit more about this world, post-apocalyptic world, and a bit more say about the sort of complexities of the virus. But yes, and the concern was obviously this was directed by Nina DaCosta, who did Marvels, and I have to say she done a pretty good job. The last one was Danny Boyle, and I think she's kind of proved actually that she is a good director. She just needs to stay the hell away from writing. That is not her forte whatsoever, but she done a really good job, I thought, actually, of directing this film and the tone. Like I say, is a little first part a little bit slow. I think that could have been a bit tighter. But overall, I enjoyed the film. It is a recommend. It's very different to the first film. So if you weren't a big fan of the 28 Years Later and wanted more of the kind of the 28 Days, I think you will enjoy this film much more. I would say definitely give it a go. If you say you're a fan of the previous films, I think you'll enjoy this. Absolutely set up for the third film and Cillian coming back into it. So I'm hoping it does perform well. It deserves to perform well. I think it's good story, fantastic acting. We got a few weak links in the chain, and like one of the sort of co-stars who plays Jimmy's crew is called the Fingers, like the fingers of Satan's right hand kind of thing. Is played by Moira Bird. Now you'd know her if you watched Falcon and Winter Soldier, yeah, and she kind of played the freckled terrorist whose morals were just all over the shop, and she wasn't good in that. She's better in this, but she's for such a prominent sort of role. They really needed a stronger actress, I think. She wasn't awful, but you know, she's really not that great an actress either. And I think it probably showed even more given how strong the other performances were from like sort of Spike, from Rafe, and Jack O'Connell. So yeah, so I do recommend this. I think the people who like the franchise will like this a lot more, but it is gory, I warn you. They do not shy away from the horrors of this new world that everybody's living in. So yeah, let me know what you think. Are you planning on seeing this, or did the last one put you off completely? Love to know your thoughts. I really hope this does well, because it would be great to see this trilogy rounded out, and obviously seeing Cillian back. Yeah, it's a very different tone. One of the things that was quite surprised me is that like a lot of the soundtrack to this is actually Duran Duran, and I was like, wow. It makes sense when you watch it, but yeah, so the soundtrack's quite interesting. You've got Iron Maiden in there, you've got Radiohead, you've got Duran Duran. So if you like your retro music, because obviously everything's kind of 90s backwards, because that obviously the first film happened in the 90s, so there's nothing post that. So yeah, I really enjoyed that as well. It's like you got Ralph Fiennes like dancing and singing along to Duran Duran, singing like Rio and Girls on Film, by sort of dragging this zombie's dead body behind him. So yeah, quite an interesting take, but I really enjoyed that too. So as I said, let me know what you think. I always love to know your thoughts on these things. And yeah, and of course, if you can, do like, share and subscribe. Really important to the channel to get it out there. Thank you for all the views I've been getting recently. I mean, obviously I've done the last few videos on sort of Stranger Things. I will be doing the first Shadow review next, so look out for that one. But yeah, obviously because of all the noise around it, those videos have been doing well. So thank you everybody that's tuned in. It'd be great if I could get a few more subscriptions too, so please do subscribe. Those don't watch, it'd be great if you could stick around. I'd really appreciate that. So yeah, recommend from me. Very excited that hopefully they'll make the third film to round this out. It's definitely a strong enough film to do so. Do go check it out and let me know what you think. You take care now. Bye-bye.